hate stems from something that happened to them in their past. So we gotta love everybody. My challenge to y'all is to refuse to be enemies.
Is that Brad Poles?
Do I hear Brad Poles?
Yes, sir. That's my name, yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Underwater Fly Zone podcast. Today's episode's a very special one, y'all, and I had to put it off. We were supposed to do it on Tuesday, but your boy got strep throat. It was so annoying. I had so much to do, and then it's just like I wake up feeling like crap. It was, but anyways, we put this off till Thursday. Today we're recording, and we got a very, very, very special guest here today. I'd like to have you introduce yourself to the people. How are you doing today? Introduce yourself.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. This
Of
is pretty
course. Yes.
cool. My name is Heather Palmer.
Yes.
I am a yoga teacher for your parents, which
Yep.
is how we met.
Exactly.
Yes.
She's my parents' yoga instructor, and
Yeah.
they came
And-
home every day after
And your
class.
girlfriends. Yeah.
Yes. They would always come home after class and be like, "You have to get Heather on the podcast. You have to do it." So I was like, "I'll do it. I don't know when, but I'll do it." And today's the day. We're doing it.
I can't believe it.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yes.
So the first time I heard about you was after a yoga class. And I had, my favorite part is not just like the movement, which is cool, and the breath work, which is cool. It's like the intentions. And so the intention of the day was being authentic, and so I use the analogy of a wildflower.
Okay.
Like wildflowers just like bloom. They just do their thing. Nobody puts them there. They just bloom, and they don't look around going, why is this wildflower got like long pink pretty petals and I have these short white stubby ones? No, the wildflower just blooms. It roots down wherever it is. And your mom comes up to me after class and she's like, I loved your intention. It just made me think of my son, Foster.
Really?
Yes. And she was like telling me about you with your dreads and how I think you were up for Homecoming King.
Yeah. Okay.
at
So
your-
this was like a year ago almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And she was just telling me, I'm like, that's awesome, you know. And then I would hear from them about you other times, and I got listening to your podcast, and I'm like, dude, this guy is doing cool things. I love it. I
dude, I
love the
appreciate
story.
that.
I love how you took something that happened that was hard, something you had to work through, and you made it something light. You made it, you transmuted something dark into light. That's what you're doing
Yes.
with your podcast.
Yes.
I think it's cool.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that. That is awesome.
Love that.
But yeah, that's crazy. I do remember her saying something like that though, and I was about to say this had to be when I had dreads. The wallflower
Had to be.
Had
Had
to
to
be. That is so crazy, but yeah, that was a great story.
Wildflower. Did you see any wildflowers in Colorado?
On
your hike?
Maybe. If I did, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
even known. I don't know. It was
Once
cool
you
though.
start seeing them, they just like pop up in the middle of a sidewalk. Like, who put that there?
Yeah,
It's just like this little beautiful thing in the middle of nothing, you know?
yeah,
It's cool.
that is so awesome. Great way to start this thing off for real. I'm
Yeah.
excited to get deeper into this, but yeah. So we did go to Colorado. You said you grew up in Colorado.
I grew up here. I
Grew up here?
lived in
Oh.
Colorado. So I
how'd
grew
that
up
work?
here out at Lake Lotawana.
Yeah.
Have you
Okay.
ever
Cool.
been out there?
I've heard of it. Never been out there because we live out in Raintree, so we just kind of stay here. You know.
Yeah, all the different lakes.
There's a lot of yeah.
Yeah. So Lake Lotawana, I grew up water skiing, sailing, swimming, all that good stuff. After college, I went and was a camp counselor out in Colorado,
Okay.
down in Buena Vista, and I met my first husband there right after college. So I was like, 21? Not even 22 yet.
Okay.
And we lived out there for a while and lived back here. I went back and forth a few times. So
Yeah,
lived
yeah.
in Breckenridge and Silverthorne area.
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it would be by Frisco. You would have driven through on your way
Okay,
to
Frisco was
Breckenridge.
awesome,
Yeah.
dude. That was my favorite thing of the whole trip was going to Frisco.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling really nervous. So can I do like a prayer?
Yes. Of course. Let's
Okay,
get it.
so I feel like this is what I try to do like before my classes because I'm starting to feel like, no, this is Heather, you have to perform, do this. This is not me. This is not you, right? This is
Yeah.
God going to work through us.
100%.
Okay. All right. All right. Dear God, can you please come into this space, fill it with light and love, God. Bring us your intention for what we are to talk about today. Work through us so that we might touch other people and do your good work. Amen.
Amen.
I
like
just
that.
ask God always, I'm like, God, please use me, please use me, please use me.
I do the
This
same
is what
thing.
I want to do.
I had a retreat that I like had to give a talk in, the prodigal son story. And before it, I was like, God, just talk through me. I was all nervous. I was like, just speak through me. And then when I gave that talk, I don't think I was even there. Like, I didn't even feel like I was giving the talk. It felt like something else was happening.
Exactly it. Like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And I feel better now. I feel more calm.
Is that how like your yoga classes go? Do you always pray like that before?
Yeah. It's usually shorter. Like, God, use me. Please use me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, sometimes I'm on and sometimes I'm not, you know.
For
Sometimes
sure.
I come home and I'm like, dang, like, nailed it today.
Yeah, for sure.
I was a badass warrior of light today. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, I just taught a class. It was fine.
Uh-huh. I feel the same way about doing this too.
Yeah. Sometimes people come up after and they're like, you have no idea. That is exactly what I needed to hear. And I'm like, yes, good,
Yeah.
good.
Does
'Cause
that ever
sometimes-
happen on an off day too? And you're just like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yeah, that's how it is. I'll drop a podcast and I'm like, oh, that was not my best. And then it gets like a bunch of people telling me, dude, that was such a great episode. That impacted me in so many ways. I'm like, really? Thank you. Like,
Good,
There
yeah.
we go.
You didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Everyone's going through different things, so you never know what's going to hit,
that's right.
But anyways, all right, let's get into this. We're already 7 minutes in and feel like we haven't even started, so let's get this rolling.
Let's go.
Yeah, and so I heard your story a little bit through my parents, and I'd like you to tell it, but like we talked about on the phone, you're more than that, So this episode's not just going to
Sure.
be the story. I want to really get into who you are, what you've been through, and coming out of that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if you would like to just like give your story and let the people know you a little better, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay. Like I said, I was born and raised at Lake Lotawana. Perfect idyllic childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing bad happened. Nothing. Like, it was all good.
Yeah.
Went to college up at Drake University, became elementary ed teacher. Went to work at a summer camp, met this guy named Bill, and everything just fell into alignment. It was great, and we started dating. We lived up in Silverthorne and Frisco area, Colorado.
Yeah.
Got married at my parents' home at Lake Lotawana when I was 23. And then we lived at Lake Lotawana for a year. And we were just doing our thing. I was teaching in Lee Summit, like a long-term sub position that
Yeah.
year. And then he was working at Commerce Bank. And a year into our marriage, it was like right before our first anniversary. He had been having some issues and went in to get his digestion area checked, and turns out he had colon cancer, which is super, super bizarre for a 24-year-old.
Yeah.
So everyone told us, listen, this is not, I remember I was driving, I was actually going to the orthodontist because my dog had chewed up my retainer, which I still wore at the time.
Yeah.
And I go in there and I get this phone call saying that the polyp or whatever they had tested was cancerous. And I just like lost it. That was like so surreal. Like, what?
Yeah.
And this lady, this poor woman there, she's like, pulls me aside and she's like, honey, it's not a death sentence. I'm like, okay. I didn't mention this either, but both Bill and I were raised Christian Zionist.
Okay.
So Christian Science is not Scientology like some people think. It's Christian Science is just basically we relied on God for healing and prayer.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't grow up going to doctors. I did
Yeah.
when I broke my leg, but I didn't grow up taking medicine,
Uh-huh.
going in. If I got strep throat,
You just prayed.
Yeah, I prayed, and like my mom would put on these Now, I don't want anyone to think I was not taken care of. I was absolutely taken care of, and I'm glad that I was raised the way I was. But
Yeah.
it did make it different for us when he was diagnosed with cancer. Because he actually went to a Christian Science high school and college.
Okay.
So I didn't. I just went to Sunday school on the weekends. And I went to a public high school and college. So I felt like there was this level of guilt that he had for getting cancer. Like, he should be able to overcome this. And that made it really challenging because he didn't want to tell anybody that he got cancer.
Yeah.
And so we went through this whole year of, first we did radiation, followed by chemotherapy. In the midst of all that, they tell us, well, he's going to be sterile, so you need to freeze sperm. And I'm like, what? No, I don't want to get pregnant like that. Like, all I ever wanted was to be a mom.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, let's just try to get pregnant in the meantime. So we did. We got pregnant, and then I miscarried. So this whole year was just trash.
Yeah.
Got pregnant, miscarried. He has radiation. He has chemotherapy. He has a surgery to take out the diseased part of his colon and intestines. He gets an ostomy bag put in, which is super humbling for a 24-year-old male swimmer who's like, I'm never going to be able to swim again. They reversed the ostomy, luckily, so he got his intestines all back together. I mean, all of this we go through without telling any of our friends. We did tell our parents.
Yeah.
So all of that was just pretty hard. Anyway, we got the all clear. All the cancer's gone. You're done with your chemotherapy. And you know what? We were like, let's get a fresh start. We got to go back to Colorado where everything was good.
Yeah.
Where we met, So we moved back out to Breckenridge, and I got a job as a teacher there, and he starts working as a manager of some sports outlet store, and we're like, hallelujah, fresh start, everything's great. And I love Colorado so much. Like, the people there were so outdoorsy, and we just dug right in. And basically 6 months later, he's starting to have like back pain, and first thing you think of is like, oh no, it's cancer. And he goes to this doctor, and they're like, listen, cancer doesn't really usually hurt. It's probably fine. We're going to send you in for some scans. It was cancer. It was back in his like bone in his low back, and it was affecting his sciatic nerve. So this poor guy, Bill, love him, and he did suffer. He was in a lot of pain. His sciatic nerve was so bad, and his leg got swollen, all this junk. Meanwhile, my dream of still like wanting to have a baby, we had already started trying again. We're like 25 or whatever at the time. Well, meanwhile, we go back into the chemotherapy route, blah, blah, blah. In the midst of all this, we're still trying to like live our best life and go hiking and be with friends and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just a roller coaster. It'd be like, good news, this is working. Bad news, it's not, blah, blah, blah. So fast forward, we decide we're going to do in vitro to get pregnant. Now I have to go into this counseling session because they're like, sweetie, you're going to be a single mom, because I don't actually know what the diagnosis would be right now, but when cancer metastasizes and come back, it's usually just managing of it and see how long you can prolong it.
Yeah.
They're like, you're going to be a single mom. And I'm like, I'd rather be a single mom than a widow. Like,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
okay. I don't know what the future holds. And to be honest, like, people would try to like make me this saint, like, well, you wanted to keep a piece of him. And I'm like, well, actually, I was still just thinking like, no, he's going to have a healing. I'm just trying to move forward with my life. Yeah, I want to be a mom.
Yeah.
And I'm young. I'm like 25, 26. And I'm thinking, this is my only chance, Now look at me, four kids later. But
Yeah.
anyway, all those ups and downs, I got pregnant. I went through in vitro, had to give myself all these shots, had to drive myself all these places because he was really pretty sick. And so at some point, we went up to visit his family at Christmas time in 2003. And he didn't come home from there because he was having blockage in his intestines, and he ended up, they were like, there's nothing more we can do. I have to keep our insurance out in Breckenridge. So I flew home, and because I'm having a baby, because he's doing cancer treatments, we had to have insurance. Also, to be quite honest, I needed a little space to just, I was trying to focus on growing this baby and teaching and taking him to all his treatments.
Yeah.
His mom and dad and sister needed to step in. Like, they wanted to. They needed that for them. His sister quit her job, moved home. She was driving him to his treatments. Like, we would talk on the phone all the time. I flew up there in February, and we had this conversation on Valentine's Day. And he was like, again, it was just a roller coaster always.
Yeah.
I can't remember always whether it was up or down, but it was like, this is working, this isn't working. I feel this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation where he was telling me, now, if I don't make it, I want you to know that I want you to move on. And I want Olivia to have a dad and all this stuff. And basically that's as far as it went. Cause I was like, thank you for saying that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not our future. But I appreciate you trying to protect me and tell me. And later on, that was nice to have that.
Yeah.
But I still didn't feel like he was going to pass on.
Yeah.
I just didn't. And maybe it's because we were just so young and naive. We're just like, no, that's not going to happen. I can't imagine that happening.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I flew back home, and then his mom, my due date was April 8th. So his mom flew him by medical flight, which I thought was ridiculous at the time. I was like, okay, drama, put him on an airplane.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said he can't handle that. So they flew him by medical flight to Vail Valley Medical Center April 1st, and I saw him, and I remember that it was April 1st because I was like, is this a joke? Like, he looked so much different, so thin, so just like a shell of himself. And he had to be on a lot of pain medicine. So that night, the doctor told me, I was supposed to deliver in Breckenridge. The doctor told me, if you want him to see his daughter, you need to be induced tomorrow. And so I was like, what? Again, I'm struggling with that, but that's not how I planned it. Like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to go into labor naturally and blah. And it's like, that took me 2 seconds to get over that and be like, okay, I'll be induced. Let's have the baby tomorrow. Like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm actually embarrassed by the fact that I was so spooked by his appearance. Like, he looked so sick, and he hadn't 2 months before. And okay, so I remember thinking in my head, I need to just look at his eyes. And that became my thing that I would do. Like, just go and just look in his eyes, and then I would see the Bill that I knew, and not get distracted by how frail and thin he was, or by the things that he would say that weren't necessarily like him. Because when you're on morphine, you don't act like yourself. So
Yeah.
I got induced. He did not want to come into the room. Again, I think that was from the drugs. So I had my mom, his sister, my sister-in-law were all in the room with me when I gave birth. Not my plan, but like, that was cool.
Yeah.
I have this baby girl. We named her Olivia Love, middle name Love, because of the love that we shared. And she was perfect, beautiful little angel. And she was my angel. She kept me in this present state so that it's like I could not sit there and worry and grieve and be anxious. Like, her needs kept me so present. I didn't plan that. That was just God working.
Yeah.
And he actually, there were several times that we thought he was going to pass, and he lived another month, which was awesome. He passed on May 4th. So we spent a month at the Vail Valley Medical Center. We were kind of celebrities there in a bad way, but it was weird. They all loved us. They were like, look at this young couple. He's got cancer. She's got this baby, and he's in hospice, and down the hall she's delivering. And then I went and I would live at my parents' house, which was in Beaver Creek. And we would come every day and visit. And it became this like routine. And he got to hold her. We had some really good moments where I know people who have lost people suddenly, like you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very different form of grief after they pass.
I 100% agree with
because
that.
I had time to digest what was happening and to say everything I needed to say. And the hospice people, they would be like, you need to tell him it's okay to pass. And I'm like, I can't say that. So I said, I thought of, what can I say? All right. I can say this. So I said to him, Bill, you know, when I take Olivia home and I'm home, but you're here, and every time I think of you, like you're in my heart, so you're still with me. So it's like that. Like we cannot be separated. If I'm here and you're there, we're still together because you live in me and I live in you. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So there's never a goodbye. There's a, I will see you later, you know? And so I could say that anyway. Yeah. There's so many layers to what you experience when you're going through the long-term passing of somebody. And I do want to say I had lots of friends and family around me, which was awesome. But here's what I know now that I didn't know then. Friends and family it was very uncomfortable for them to see me suffering. So what they would do is tell me everything's going to be okay. They willed me. They wanted me so badly to be okay because they loved me so much. They didn't want to see me suffer. Yeah. I had one friend who allowed me to like kind of speak my biggest fears that he was going to die, because throughout it all, the whole like year where after it came back and people actually knew this time, everybody needed me to, you just need to pray, and you just need to keep your thought high and elevated, and you just need to know that everything's going to be okay. And they needed me for their own self. They needed me to be okay. Yeah. One friend was like, I get it. Like, it's scary. You might lose him. Yeah. And you don't know what that's going to be like. And that felt, so what I took from that experience, also after Bill passed, people did not know what to say, so they said nothing a lot of times. And so what I took from my whole experience of having someone pass was, you always reach out. Even if you don't know what to say, you say something. You just say, I don't know what to say, but I love you, and I know it's hard, and I'm thinking about you. And when friends of mine, I've bonded with lots of friends who parent or somebody they love is going through something hard, because I'm one of the people who reaches out, because people think they need space, and they do, but they also need people in their corner saying, I don't know what you're going through, but I've been through something hard, and I love you. Yeah. So that's something that's like a silver lining. Uh-huh. And when he passed on, and I'm 26 or 27, I don't even know, and I have this baby, and I'm thrown into this spiritual world that nobody else my age was going through, because I've just lived the life of an 80-year-old for the last 5 years. I've been in and out of chemotherapy. I've been secluded in our home with a sick husband. I've been not going out and having fun, and like all the things that everybody worried about just seemed so insignificant and silly. And I feel like I had to get to this space where I could come back home to who I was. And so I remember I was watching Oprah, which you probably remember your mom watching Oprah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, well, I felt like there was this episode where she was interviewing someone who had like a near-death experience, and I was like sucked into the TV, like, what is Bill experiencing? I couldn't get over it. Like, I know he's not with me, but I know he's with me, but I feel like he's like just on the other side of the in California or something and I can call him, but I couldn't call him. It was the weirdest thing coming to terms with. Do you feel like you had that?
100%, I would say so. It always felt like, when's he coming back from his
Yes.
vacation?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, like I'm going to tell him this later. And I would go to like events or, I went to my friend's wedding and I brought Olivia with me because she's like my little security blanket. And I'm like, I never felt so alone in a group of people because I felt like he was with me, but he wasn't. And I just wanted to like go home and call him and I couldn't. And so I really spent that whole next year in this state, and I'm a big journaler and I would write all this stuff. And I typed out like 40 something pages of everything I could remember of my life with him because I didn't ever want to forget it. And then I just tucked it away. I typed it, I emailed it to myself, and I didn't read it for 10 years. And there was one time I came home after I'm remarried and I read it and I just bawled for my younger self. I just had so much compassion for myself. And that was very healing too. Just being like, shit, the stuff I went through.
Yeah.
My gosh. And like just to hear my younger self's thoughts, like as I'm typing. And I typed it all, the good and the bad. Like it wasn't all perfect, or I didn't always have a good attitude.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of healing. I made this like picture book and I made this thing. And I lived with my parents for that year. I went on a couple dates after it had been probably about a year, and people would want to set me up. And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to be like alone forever, but I was telling you on the phone about Heather 1.0.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the end of Heather 1.0. I had to recreate myself that year. Heather 1.0 had everything perfect until her husband got cancer and died, and she's got this baby now. And then it's like, okay, I'm still me, but I'm not the same. I'm different. I have to recreate myself. Okay, Heather 2.0 was birthed that year.
Yeah. And it's crazy, like, because you were definitely at your rock bottom in that moment. But I always tell people, when you're at the rock bottom, the only direction you can go is up. And
Yep.
you kind of got to, and you don't give up in that moment, because a lot of people do, unfortunately. Like, never give up, ever.
Yeah.
And when you're in that moment, just don't be discouraged. Instead, be like, it's time to recreate Heather 2.0.
Yeah, like
You know what I'm
that
saying?
semicolon that people tattoo on themselves,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then.
Exactly.
And then Heather became 2.0.
And let's talk about Heather 2.0. I'm
Yeah,
excited for this.
I'm still the same, but like I understand things a little bit differently. So when people that I'm friends with would have these like things where they were just mad about this or that or worried about this or that, I'm like, okay, like I get that. I just didn't see it the same way. So Heather 2.0 kind of needed just to have fun a little bit. And I moved into this. My dad was on me like, well, what's your next step? What are you going to do? And I thought at the time, because I had been a literacy resource teacher,
Yeah.
Heather 1.0 had been in Colorado, and I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And so I thought maybe I'd go back to school. And so I moved up by my brother in Boulder. And I thought I need to be by family, but I loved Colorado. I wanted to stay there. That happened for a little while. I was up there. I actually went to one class at the University of Colorado, and then I just felt like a fish out of water. I was like, this doesn't feel authentic. I just felt like I can't do this and be the mom I want to be for Olivia. So
Yeah.
I went home for my high school reunion, my 10-year reunion. And like I said, I'd been on a couple dates with people. But when I went to my high school reunion, I reconnected with a friend of mine from high school, Chris
Okay.
Palmer, who is now my husband. But at the time, I just kind of like Macy was telling me how you caught her eye.
Uh-huh.
She was telling me how Foster caught her eye one time, and she's like, I remember everything. It was like this moment. And I remember I saw Chris across the way at our reunion. I'm like, what the heck? How come he and I were good friends. In fact, I was homecoming queen and he's my escort. So he was my best guy friend
Wow.
that
okay.
age. So we have pictures of us, but I just never saw him that way.
Never saw him that way. Wow, because Macy never saw me.
Yeah.
Just straight up never saw me. like, it wasn't even, she didn't see me that way. She didn't even see me. And
Yeah.
then here we
It
are.
wasn't time.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Isn't
that cool?
I feel like we're so like
Yeah.
everything you've said. I'm like, yeah, I've kind of experienced.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool. Keep
Because
going.
I think
though, keep
that's
going.
how the world works. It's like
Yeah.
things fall into place when they're supposed to.
Yep.
Anyway, so Chris and I start dating long distance, which was exactly what I needed. Now, he wanted to be together more, but I needed that space. I'm still healing.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling guilty. And in fact, when I started falling in love with him, I remember feeling fear, which is not an emotion you want to feel when you're falling in love. But to me, I was equating it with loss. Like, if I care about somebody, then I might lose them. And that's like the risk you take.
Yeah.
That's the risk you take with love is when you put your heart out there, you know that it's not going to be forever. You hope it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was the whole thing I went through. We dated long distance. I'm in Boulder. He's here in Lee Summit. And we knew within 6 months we were going to get married. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Similar to
Yeah.
similar to us.
yeah, you
Even
just
though I
know.
ain't pulled the trigger yet. My bad.
Even though what? Oh,
I ain't
oh,
pulled
well.
the trigger yet. It's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
eventually.
It's coming.
Anyways.
It'll come at the right time.
For sure. But okay, so in 6 months you knew.
Yeah. So
Wow.
we would talk on the phone all the time. And meanwhile, I'm just raising Olivia. I'm still going through all those, like, the first year. Well, I guess this was the second year. Our anniversary, his birthday, all these things that are just hard.
Yeah.
You just go through them. And I'm still journaling. I'm still like just trying to understand life and why this happened. And I think I'd come around to like, I will never know why. I will never know why this happened for Bill, because to me it doesn't seem fair. But I've just kind of given that over to God. Like, I'll never understand why, God, because I don't understand the way you work. I don't understand the way everything is weaved together. I don't understand why. But I do know that my job is to just show up as me and be authentic and like to try to do your work every day.
Yeah.
And so Chris was exactly what I needed. He brings fun. He brings music. He brings friends. He brought back like this version of me from high school that I loved, right? Because we had all the same friends. And
Yeah.
that part was really cool. So I moved back home and we built our house and we got engaged and we got married and boom, on our honeymoon, we got pregnant with Jack. So most people that I know today don't actually even know that I have two different husbands. Like, I guess my close friends know, but a lot of
Yeah.
people, they're only 3.5 years apart. So when we got married, Olivia was 2.5.
Okay.
And so she was our little flower girl in our wedding, and she was adorable, and Chris adopted her right from the get-go. We wanted her to have the same last name. I wanted to give her everything. I
Yeah.
wanted to give her a dad and a family. And of course, there's parts of me that felt guilty at times. Like, I felt like, am I moving on too quickly? Like, am I honoring this relationship I had before? Like, you do all these things, but I just had to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Have to.
Exactly.
So, boom, got pregnant with Jack. Then there was Ellie. Then there was Brooks. So I've got 4 kids now. Now Olivia is 19, and she just finished her freshman year of college.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's at in Chicago at Loyola University. Jack is 16. Ellie is 14. Brooks is 11. So my life is so different now.
Yeah.
And I'll skip forward to say Heather 3.0 is being birthed. But let's go back, because Heather 2.0, there was so much that went on. Yes, I got this like breather of separation from like all the stuff that goes on when you're losing somebody, where all these little things seem stupid and insignificant, where Heather 2.0 actually got to the point where she was like worrying about stupid things. And then
Yeah.
I would pull myself back out of it and be like, okay, if this is my problem today, I can handle this.
Yeah. If this
Like-
is the worst thing that happens to me, this is a really good day.
If this is
Yeah.
all that happens today, that, so-and-so pooped their pants while I was here and I didn't have this, and then this kid is crying, now you got 4 young kids, and there was 1 year in particular that I was not okay. I was not okay because I had 1 in like kindergarten and 3 kids at home.
Ooh.
I just didn't have the space to be me. And this was
Yeah.
before yoga. Then in 2017, when my youngest was 4, I took the leap, and something I'd always wanted to do was be a yoga teacher. I don't know why, because I never even practiced yoga before, but there's just this spiritual part of me that like loved yoga.
Yeah,
I loved
for
it
sure.
for that. So I took the leap. Being a yoga instructor is a 2,000 hour thing. It was no small thing. So I got to give props to Chris for stepping up at home, because I was the mom at home all the time. And like when I left for 8 weekends in a row, basically, yeah, things changed. Like the kids did not like that, but they had to kind of like, like, guys, you can get yourself a snack.
They grew up a little bit.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
But it was time. And then it led, so in the meantime, I will touch very briefly on something hard that I went through and still am experiencing with. What we could have done is we had our 4 kids. I got my husband and my new life, and we got friends, and we have this fun neighborhood, and our families are healthy. Everything's great. We could have just sailed off into the sunset, but that's not what we do. We had to just keep pushing and keep trying new things. And so Chris wanted to start a small business. He had this amazing, amazing idea, and it was incredible. It just took a lot of energy and devotion from both of us.
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden we're pouring all our energy and resources and money into this small business that he's creating. And meanwhile, we're raising all these little kids. So it's a software company, and he built this platform along with the help of friends and family that we got involved with us, which, what people say? They say, you should not go into business with family and friends.
They do say that.
And you know why?
Why do they say that?
Yeah. It's because it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
we get that now. But we had to fully experience it. Like you can tell somebody something, but they're not going to know it until they really experience it.
Yeah, 100%.
So we had and he was very successful enough so that we've got people in his company built this platform. It was an inventory management system for costume designers in Hollywood to use. So like NBC Universal was our biggest client. Their costume designers were all using this platform to track what came in and out of their sets. So like for Mad Men, they'd be like, okay, cool. This person, Don Draper's wearing this, and this is the flask that Don Draper's using, and all these things. And then what they would do before is just give all that stuff away. So his product allowed them to sell those things.
Yeah.
So we merged with a company out there called ScreenBid who would sell what had been on TV.
Okay.
And so that was the whole idea. And then Chris was going to develop an app so that you and I could go on and be like, well, I liked those sunglasses. Where can I get those? And we could go on and see what was sold, what was worn on a show that we liked. We
Yeah.
could find it. That was the whole idea. Well, to be honest, what happened was we were very successful, merged with a company, but that company kind of screwed us over. That was very hard. That hurt our friends and our family that were involved with us, and that hurt us.
Yeah.
And so that happened right before COVID, which shut everything down, especially Hollywood. And so that's been something challenging. And it sounds so dumb. It's not like somebody dying, but it was kind of like this idea died.
Yeah. Okay. I see that.
So it was just really hard. And it's still hard because we're still recreating ourselves from that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, simultaneously, we are raising kids and we're doing all these daily things that you have to do. So I'll never trade any of it because it's made me exactly who I am today. And I think the harder things you go through, then you have compassion and you understand. And also you have grace for everybody else. Like there's no judgment left anymore.
Yeah.
After you've gone through something hard, you're like, I don't know. You just see other people and you're like, they're just going through something. Everyone's doing the best they can.
Exactly, for sure.
So anyway, that's probably the end of Heather 2.0. It's just, it's like I was just in the last year, I've been going to therapy and like all these things because I think we're all just constantly evolving. Have you ever heard the term the Great Awakening?
Yes, I have, for sure.
Okay. The Great Awakening to me is all of us stepping into our authenticity. It is us understanding that we are so much more than these human bodies that we're living in. It is us understanding to separate ourselves just a little bit and be the observer of it, and to connect with God out here and be like, okay, how can I, whatever, be the best version of me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would agree with that. I would say, and also it's like whenever you stop living your life for other people, caring about other people's opinions, letting their opinions dictate the way you live, you just kind of, like you said, step into who you really are, and you're at peace with who you are.
Yeah.
And I would say also you're following the path that God has laid out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
and you know what I say? I've said this in my yoga class before. I'm like, all of us are in this muddy, messy room. We all have stuff we're going through.
yeah,
But what we do is we clean up this one little corner over here. And this is our Instagram worthy corner. Okay. And this is the corner we show people.
yeah,
But what the world needs us to do is to actually admit that we're a mess also.
yeah,
Because it's really dividing to show people only your beautiful, perfect side. And what's humbling and connects you to people is when you can say, I'm not okay sometimes. I've gone through a lot of hard things. Like, look at us. Let's just be authentic.
yeah. I agree 100%.
And yeah, I've been recently working with the idea of being authentic. And I think it's a form of self-respect as well
Yeah,
for yourself. Because when you're authentic, you're being who God made you to be. I have people pleaseritis, so I like to make everybody else happy first.
yeah,
And that's good sometimes, especially if you're a mom. You have to put other people first. But I do think that there's a time when I have to take care of myself so that I can be better for everybody else. So,
for sure.
I don't know.
And I hate to do this, but the camera just ran out
Oh,
of
okay.
storage.
That's
so
okay.
We have to clean the SD real
Okay,
quick.
right.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break.
Okay, quick break.
Dang it, dude.
It's all right.
We were flowing.
That's okay. We'll flow again.
We're back, everybody. The camera ran out of storage, but whatever. We're gonna get into Heather 3.0, and we're just gonna see
Yeah.
where this goes. I'm sitting here, and as it goes, I'm just like, I'm just gonna let you speak because you're killing it. And then I just like, I want to hear about Heather 3.0, get us to like today. You know what I'm saying? And then,
Sure.
I mean, there's so many angles we can go. So
Yeah.
let's just go from there. You know what I'm saying? Heather 3.0.
Let's talk about how we as humans are taught to not feel things that feel bad. So earlier I was saying like, yeah, my family and friends did not want me to be sad or scared. So they would try to take that from me. And even like as a mom, when I had little kids, I don't want them to be sad.
Yeah.
So we teach each other to numb. So think about it like, don't be sad, honey. Here, have a cookie. Let's watch a show, right?
Yeah.
Heather 3.0 thinks that we're supposed to feel things that feel bad. That what we do when we try to numb it. So I have used lots of things to numb, distracting myself, alcohol.
Yeah.
I've had an eating disorder. I'd be happy to talk about any of these things because I think we have to bring these things out into the light so that they become less of a monster.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We're taught to not feel things. We're taught it's bad to feel sad. It's bad to feel angry. It's bad to feel frustrated. And so just raise your vibration and just get out of it. When really energy is meant to move. All energy. Good energy and bad energy. Like we're calling it good and bad, but it's just energy.
Yeah.
So if you're imagining like clouds in the sky, you watch a cloud come, you just know that it's going to come and it's going to go. So energy is the same way. We have to allow it. So what happens is if we numb ourselves, if we're like, I'm so mad right now, I'm just going to go have a drink. or whatever it is. You're not allowing that energy. You're
Yeah.
suppressing it. And when we what we resist persists. So like we're resisting something, we're actually anchoring it down into our body, and it will pop up later as a
100%.
trigger.
Yes.
Or as a trigger, or like
It'll be the root of a problem that you'll face later or something like that.
you're going to keep getting the same problems
Yeah.
over and over and over until you allow that feeling. So all of us have these hidden traumas inside of us
Yeah.
because we're humans, because this is what we teach each other. If I could go back and be a mom of young kids, I would say, here's what I would want to say with my kids. Like, you seem really sad. It's okay. I feel sad sometimes too. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll be sad with you. And then later, you won't be sad for long. We'll just be sad for a while, and then it will go away. Or I don't know how I would say it, but something like that. Like, it's okay to be angry. You should be angry about that. That would make me angry too. Like, just allowing those feelings rather than trying to tell each other not to feel that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a weird thing because I've been doing this awareness practice. It's like a meditation practice, but it's with this spiritual teacher that I like.
Yeah.
It's basically sitting in awareness for 15, 20 minutes a day, and it's allowing whatever comes up to just be. Like, I like to think of it like the weather, like, wow. And it's almost like a separation of yourself from this human experience and being like, wow, look at me. I'm really worrying about XYZ a lot today. It's like, okay, I'm worried about it. Okay, I'm going to allow myself to worry.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be like, Heather, you just need to stop worrying and just go to yoga or just do this to make yourself get out of whatever you're in. No, allow all of it. See, I think we are meant to stand in the fire of whatever experience comes our way. The fire meaning whatever hardship you endure.
Yeah.
Stand in the fire and not get burned. We are allowed to experience everything, every emotion, all of it. The good, the bad, the up, the down, the beautiful, the hard. It's all part of the human experience, this roller coaster ride that we're on called being a human,
Yeah.
right? It's like we have to go through hard things. This isn't heaven.
Yeah, 100%.
We're here to have hard things happen. So if you can change this perspective of how you look at hard things, this is like, okay, you're gonna go through hard stuff. There's a mud puddle right ahead. You can't see it. You don't know when you're gonna hit it, but there's one there.
Yeah.
Later today, later this week, later this month, big mud puddles or little mud puddles. We're all in this messy, messy world, and only thing we have control over is how we navigate it.
Yep. I completely agree. I would compare it even to the gym. Like, the way I see hard things, I'm like, good. That's the heavyweight.
Yeah.
That's you growing because,
Yes.
pain is progress. I think that might even be on the shirt or something.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's so true. Like, the hard things are just growing you, making you stronger. And if you push it away, tuck it away, you're not going to capitalize off the opportunity, which is a hard time,
Yeah.
Like, the situation when my friend died, that's, again, just like you, Foster 1.0 went away. Foster
Yeah.
2.0 was born. And you've already said so much of what I have experienced in myself going through that. Cause, it's just crazy the way you view the world differently. But anyways, the pain that I went through in that season of my life has grown me into doing this. This probably wouldn't exist without that. So I don't know, the way you look at it also, it's like, how do I find the positive and make something good out of the darkness, Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
it's
some good
pretty
stuff.
cool.
That's some good stuff.
Oh, I was going to say something, but I kind of got caught up in what you were talking about.
I don't know. There's
I
so
don't
many
know.
other we
There
could
is.
keep going. There's so many things you talked about too, that like the aloneness you felt. Like, how do you put into words that emotion? Because people might, people understand what feeling alone feels like, but you don't
Being
know
alone-
what it,
being alone in a group of people is weird.
yes, it's a lot different. So, can you put into words those feelings and kind of how you came out of it in a way?
Well, don't you just think sometimes you you want to be around other people and that builds you up. And sometimes you're in like a hibernation type of state. And I think if you're trying to be in a group of people, but energetically you're kind of needing to hibernate, you're going to feel alone. You're like, I just need to go.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of this one particular time I was at my friend's wedding with my baby, who I'm like trying to put to sleep in the other room. All my friends are like dancing and drinking and partying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm a mom. They're not a mom yet. I don't know. I just felt like I was on this boat by myself with my baby, which was fine.
Yeah.
It was great. I don't know. It's, yeah, so I feel like what I'm trying to do right now with this practice of awareness, and it's not just feelings, it's like just being aware of the five senses is like a good way to practice. And like taking that deep breath, like, okay, like just finding presence right here, right now, and then just noticing the sensations that come, the thoughts that come, and allowing all of it, and knowing that you're progressing through whatever it is you're needing to, and trusting the like the path.
Yeah, 100%. That's I mean, when I was going through what I was going through, I would say a lot of people would, like you said, try to distract me. But I'm at the point now, I feel like I'm even similar to you in that area. It's like, I don't want to be distracted when hard things happen. I want to feel that and experience that.
Just allow it and know that it's, if you see it and you allow it, then it will go. You're not going to have sadness forever. You have to give it a voice and then be like, okay, cool. And then it will sit back down again and let joy come back up.
Yep.
It's like energy is meant to move. We are not meant to stay in one state forever.
Yeah.
Welcome to being a human, right? So the therapist, the one thing that I got from this one therapist that I talked to a long, long time ago was be the one who talked about the Great Awakening. And I was like, for some reason, that was huge to me. I was like, the Great Awakening, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel like that's why we're here. We're awakening to the fact that we are not these humans. We are a soul having a human experience. What a gift.
Yeah, for sure.
And the gift is all of it. The gift is not just, when things are perfect. Nobody rides for free. Have you ever met an awesome person who hasn't been through something hard?
No, never.
Never. Everybody's got stuff. Now, some people are better at hiding it than others.
Yeah.
Some of us are better at only showing our Instagram corner.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to like step out of that and step into just being authentic. And I think it gives people the permission to be authentic themselves.
Yeah.
There's nothing that feels better.
Nothing. That's so true.
Nothing. But be the watcher. So if I'm ever just feeling sucked into the tornado of whatever drama is going on in my world, whether it's yesterday I hit a bird and it got stuck in the grate of my car. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, I didn't want to kill this bird.
Yeah.
Anyway, like whatever it might be. And I'm like texting my husband, you have to get this bird. I can't touch it, whatever. It's like, just be the watcher, Heather. I don't know.
That's so crazy, dude. And
watch yourself going through whatever you're going through, and then you can respond rather than react.
Yeah.
Because, and I think yoga is really good at helping you. Okay, so there's like your right hemisphere and left hemisphere of your brain, and we have these like neurotransmitters that we form these like pathways, and these are our habits and our patterns and our ways of being and the ways of thinking. Yoga can help us build the connection between the right and left hemisphere, which helps us separate a little bit so that we can respond rather than react.
Yeah. That's so crazy. Okay, so the Instagram, the corner of our self that is the we're going to show this.
Yeah.
It's crazy because the devil loves the part that you don't show. Like he's like, give me a one-on-one. He's like, I want you one-on-one because it's the devil. You don't want to play with. You don't want that one-on-one. You need community. That's why God calls for community, and that's so crazy because it's like our biggest battles are the ones that we keep to ourselves.
Yes.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that because don't you kind of feel like I was saying this to my friend the other day? I feel like this is Satan's playground a little bit. And like the only way we can protect ourselves, because he's around every corner. He's trying to tempt us. He wants us to worship athletes and musicians. And he wants us to worship all these things that numb us, like alcohol, drugs, shopping, food, all these things, gambling. I don't know. He's trying to tempt us at every corner. And when you can see that for what it is, then you can, the only way to protect yourself is like put on the armor of God.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. And it's like you consciously just wake up and be like, I'm alive today, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How can I serve you?
Yes.
Yes.
I heard somebody say, and this isn't necessarily my mindset yet, but this was something really interesting I heard. They said, I wake up every day an atheist and fight back to God.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Like they wake up every day feeling like I don't believe, and they just fight to believe by the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
It's a constant battle. And like this even could be Satan's playground. Like this podcast and brand, he could use this and infect this. But that's like the fight that I'm trying to put up. Like, nope, this is for God. But
God, you're putting God there as the protection. So like, you know what I say? I say this prayer to my kids at night. I made it up, but every night I'm like, here's the prayer. I'll just say it. Dear God, send your angels into our heart and into our home. Create a force field of light and love. And I like that part, the force field. It's like Star Wars-ish. Create a force field of light and love surrounding our home with your angels and heavenly presence, God. Help us feel rested, safe, and peaceful, and be grateful for all we have. And I make that up, but I like the idea for my kids too. Like, listen, God is your force field. Like, you protect yourself with that, and like things are going to try to get in, but that's your protection.
Yep, for sure. I like to be I want to be a warrior for God. When I get to heaven, I don't want to be up there with the collared shirt buttoned up, clean cut. I want to be up there like ripped apart, bloody, and be like, God, I fought for you down there.
Yeah.
Like, I was
be there with dreads.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Dreads and cut up shirt. And that's what I want though. I want to meet God and be like, dude, I did my best for you down there. Like, but at the same time, that ain't going to get you into heaven alone. You got to change your heart for God, follow, repent, and be born again. But anyways, like after that though, it's like, let's go. Like someone's got to fight the battle. Why not you? Like, why not you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why not you?
Well, you know what? I like to think of God as like the sun, and we are like the rays of him. So I think of all of us as like children of God, but I do think Satan's here it's like more like in a spiritual battle for our souls here. Yeah. And it's like we are children of God, but we can be stolen away from the light. And so it's like once you have this awareness and you see that that's what's happening, then I think our job is to see each other as children of God. Look for that light that's in everybody, point it out, treat them as if that's all you see. Like my grandmother, she passed when I was doing my yoga training, and she was my angel on earth, and she was just like that person that I want to be when I grow up, you know. And she's she actually paid for my yoga teacher training, and I would go over there after classes, and I would be like, you know, you can do yoga too. It's just like breathing and being in your body and all this stuff. But she would be like, or after she passed, I spoke at her funeral. And the one phrase that always makes me think of her is, look for the light in others and treat them as if that's all you'll see. Because she was my grandma, she always treated me like this. Like I was so treasured in her presence, and it felt like the way God loves you, you know? Yeah. Where my own parents loved me like that, but you know, they had to put me in line sometimes. Be parents,
yeah, for sure.
So I like that idea of like, look for the light in others and treat them as if that's all you see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also crazy, like, to understand how valuable your soul is. Yeah. Like the devil and God are at battle for your soul. Yeah. Like,
isn't that crazy?
Yes.
I don't think people see it. This is the Great Awakening. It's like, hello, guys. It's not about politics. It's not about black versus white. It's about distracting you from God.
Yeah, 100%.
What? And so when you see that, you're like, oh, okay. So we play in this playing field of duality because, I believe that when we come on our earth in this human body, we're a child of God, but we're here to experience the vastness of 3D. So let's say God's way up here. He is not duality. He is good only.
Yeah.
Okay, so we dropped down and we're experiencing all of it, and we have to like see it and choose. So so if we were 2D, we'd be like a plant. We're not aware of ourselves. We are aware of ourselves, but this is the lowest density that we can experience as a soul. Duality. So we're experiencing good, bad, right, wrong, yes, no, light, dark.
Yeah.
And so here, when we're experiencing all of it, we get to choose how we're viewing it or how we're experiencing it. And so I don't know if I'm making sense, but I feel like, yes, this is the battle.
Yeah.
We are here. We're on the battlefield right now. And so if we were to be able to see through all the deceptions that they're putting in our way of, like I said, politics, race, all the things they want us to fight about, and we're just like, no, just look at each other. We are all part of God. Like, see that in each other. And then we help each other become who we're meant to be.
Yeah. 100%.
So I feel like that is why we're all here, to wake up to that fact.
Yeah. I agree 100%. It is crazy. This is like, if you make it to heaven, this is the worst you'll ever get. Is this earth, you know what I'm saying? So I admire you for like following God so heavily, because a lot of people, if they went through what you went through, could have said, God, why would you do this to me? You know what I'm saying? And you said you don't necessarily like, you never will know, and you're at peace with that. But it's like, you just got to remember, we're on earth. Like, this is, bad things happen, good, bad, duality, good and bad happens here. This is not heaven,
Yes.
So how have you been able to stay so close to God through this? Maybe to give some advice to the people.
I am a big fan of writing. I like writing. I brought this here because it just makes me feel like you should ask your parents. I always have my little yoga notebook with my little thoughts, and it's all scratched up, but it's like, that's how I get what's in my head out. I haven't spent every single day of my life close to God.
No, I mean, who has though?
I said, I've had lots of experiences with numbing from what I don't want to feel. I didn't turn to God. I numbed instead. And I try for that not to be my path, but sometimes it has been my path. And I'm not ashamed to say that, because I think every single one of us does that.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's hard being a human.
Yeah.
It's hard to feel those things that don't feel good and be okay with it, and not, I think that if we talk about vibration and frequency, like of feelings, so the lowest low is a feeling of unworthiness. That's a big trigger for me.
Yeah.
Is feeling unworthy. That's probably for a lot of people, like unworthiness, shame, guilt, remorse, sadness, anger. Anger is actually a little higher. But I do think then in the middle, you have this neutral feeling of compassion. And I think compassion for yourself or for others can draw you out of shame, unworthiness. So when I'm like being hard on myself over the fact that I numbed using whatever this earthly world gives me to numb with, I have compassion and be like, well, you were doing the best you could with the current knowledge that you had.
Yeah.
Compassion for yourself is way harder than compassion for others. I can be like, Foster, of course it was hard for you when your friend killed himself when he was 14 years old. And you turned it on you and you're like, I wasn't a good enough friend. Of course you thought that, but no, like I can see it clearly. It wasn't you. This was what he was going through, and he was doing the best he could with whatever current circumstances he had. And maybe his path was to wake you up to your purpose.
Yeah. Who knows?
Like, we don't know why that happened, and we will never know. But what we can do is like take where we're at right now and move forward. But I do think compassion is super, super important. Just grace for yourself, grace for all the people around you that are going through hard things. Instead of judging, let's just be great. Let's find grace. I tell my kids all the time, it is not our job to judge. It's not our job to judge.
True. It's our job to love.
Yes.
Yep.
And don't, I think judging ourselves is where most of us get stuck. It's like, if you listen to the voice in your head being like, oh, why did I do that? I'm so blah, blah, blah. No, stop.
Yeah.
Like, that's not helping you. Okay, so let's talk about the vibration. So we're up here in the middle, neutral at compassion. Above that, I think would be peace, joy, love. Way up high is what we talked about earlier, being authentic and respect for yourself.
Yeah.
So way up high, enlightenment, all this. Like, this is God way up here.
Yeah.
And so if we find ourselves way down here, which we're going to because we're humans, the way to like kind of feel better, I think, would be through grace and compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think that's pretty important.
I would agree. This is the craziest episode we've ever had. Like, oh, I'm just sitting here learning the whole time. I'm not even. Ooh, I actually have some questions. Okay, so we talked about how like every problem and every emotion has a root or every negative one. So if you're angry all the time, there's a reason. You know, there's a reason for everything. How do you uncover those roots? You know what I'm saying? Because I'll give an example. I would say I was a shy kid, but I wasn't shy. Like, you know, she didn't even know me in school. I just feel like I wasn't confident in myself. I knew who I was for the most part, but I wasn't confident. And then I was like, why does this exist? And then I remembered, like, this was like a year ago. I was like in 8th grade. My dream was to be in the NBA, be a basketball player. But on the morning of tryouts in PE class, this kid that I thought was cool, thought he was my friend, started like talking crap on me to everybody. Like, he's going to get cut. He's trash. He's short. Like, it's not going to happen. And that just like, I didn't even realize it at the time, but I think that's what killed my confidence for so long. And
unworthiness.
I don't know how I even discovered that though. Like, do you have a way that you know, or like a formula to digging up those roots and like figuring out where does this stem from? What happened in my life to why I feel like this right now?
I think that the process of awareness will bring what needs to come to the surface when it needs to come to the surface. And it's not a digging up, it's an allowing. So if something pops up and you're realizing now, okay, we'll have compassion for that you who got hurt by that kid who, you know, let's have compassion for him. Yeah. He probably was feeling unworthy himself. So he's trying to knock you down so that he can feel better. I mean, we're all just doing the best we can. Yeah. But it's funny that you say that because my 11-year-old, I asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, and he said, I'm going to be, and he's not the biggest. Well, I mean, he's only 11, but I'm just saying. And he's really good at football. Yeah. Really good, got sticky hands. But he's like, I'm going to be in the NFL. I'm like, awesome. I love that. I was like, what's your backup? Like, do you have another thing that you might want to do? He's like, NBA. And I'm like, yes.
What about after that? MLB?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to be the one to squash anyone's dreams. I think that is amazing. Yeah. And somebody will. That's what kids do. They knock each other down to try to feel better about themselves. Yeah. Isn't it sad?
Yeah.
I do think if I could bottle up confidence and sell it to kids, wouldn't that be amazing?
Dude.
See, that's what you're going to do as a PE teacher. You're going to give them, because you're so full of light, you're just going to pour that into those kids, and they're going to love comedy. I'm just predicting.
That's the goal right there. That's going to be awesome.
That. I hope so.
Yeah. Gosh, that's such a crazy like thing I realized too, because I did end up getting cut, didn't make the team, and that's when I was just like, well, that's the basketball team, that's the group, all my friends, all doing, and then I was just like, there, and here's me, and that like affected me for so long, and I never knew this, never even realized this. I just was like, oh well. But
yeah,
then, like,
that was your unworthiness.
Yeah, and then like
and that's
my
where it
senior year
started.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
before that, you you knew you and
Yeah.
you felt like you were enough, and then somebody told you weren't.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what happened to me?
What happened?
My senior year of high school, my boyfriend cheated on me. And like I said, that was like the first bad thing that really happened to me.
Uh-huh.
And then, so I felt like, why did he do that?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's something of me. Like, I'm not good enough.
So many people go through that.
Didn't sleep with him. So he cheated on me, and I felt like that planted this seed of unworthiness. And then I got homecoming queen, which should have made me feel amazing. But I had this seed. I thought, why me? Like, I'm nothing. Why would I have to be like this, something that people would look up to or think is good? So I thought in my head, well, I need to be better. I'm just going to become better. And so because of programming in the world that we live in, I thought I should like lose some weight. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll just stop eating fat, which was the 90s, which is what people did. And I triggered an eating disorder. I didn't know what I was doing. It's like, I think it's something that lies dormant in you, potentially. Not everybody can develop an eating disorder. It was just like, some people are alcoholics and some people are prone to gambling. Whatever it is that might be your vice, like, that was from unworthiness. That was because I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I need to make myself better. Now, other people go lose 10 pounds and nothing happens. I lost 30 pounds. So I was pretty sick for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in college. And so it's just, everybody's got stuff. And sometimes you don't know why. Why was this my battle? Why do I have to go through this? Like, all I ever want is for things to be easy and for everything to just unfold like I planned it. And that is what we need to stop doing, is stop outlining how things are going to go, because you're setting yourself up for suffering.
That is so true.
If we could just be in this present moment, which is not how we're programmed. We're programmed to plan our lives. But like I said, setting us up for being disappointed. But if we could just be in this now moment and know that this now moment is all there is, and the next now moment will unfold, and the next now moment will unfold, and all we need to do is, okay, so if you're to think about, like we talked about weather, there's going to be like storms constantly, whatever they might be. They're going to come and they're going to go. You're going to have good weather. You're going to have bad weather throughout your life. If we can be the eye of the storm, like be this person experiencing it all, the soul, experiencing the good, the bad, the ups and the downs, and realize that we are safe no matter what. Even if we're in the midst of a horrible tornado where your husband is dying, you're safe. Because this isn't forever. Because this is the human experience. Like, okay, God, show me what I need to see. What do I need to know? Give me more. Bring the storm on, right?
Dude, this is so good.
Yeah, but it's like nobody wants a storm. I don't really mean that, God. Like, don't give me any more. I mean, but I know He will.
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna happen. It's a broken world. Like, that
anything
exists.
hard. Like, I just want everything to go the way I want it to. I still want that, even though I know that's not going to happen. I still want all my kids to behave. I want my husband to do what I tell him to do. I want to control everything. That's where suffering happens. You got to I have to let go. And here's what I say in yoga too. I'll be like, all right, listen, draw a circle around yourself. Okay. Perfect. Everything inside the circle is your job. You're in charge of your thoughts. You're in charge of your words. You're in charge of your actions. Everything outside of the circle, not your job. And then when you realize that, it takes so much weight off of you. It's like, I cannot control what my daughter does in college, but I can control myself. And even if it's something like with somebody who you live with or whatever. Like, I cannot control what my son eats, but I can control what I buy. You know what I mean? Like, we try to like always point the finger out and blame outside when it needs to always be like, okay, I come back to my home. I come back to me. I come back to God. What can I control? What can I do? And it's like, anytime you're saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, I find myself doing that to my husband. Like, well, I need you to blah, blah, blah. No. I need to work on myself and trust and know that he is working on himself.
Yep.
And it's not my job to control other people.
Yeah.
Even though I want to.
Yeah. Okay, so an example I have is like with my wiffle ball team.
Yeah.
My advice to my team is when we win, give credit to somebody else.
Yeah.
And when we lose, blame yourself. I don't care if you hit 3 home runs, pitched a great game or whatever. If we lose, blame yourself. I don't care at all. Yeah. And I feel like if the whole country, the whole world could have that same mindset, when we win, give credit, keep yourself humble. And when we lose, when we're going through this crazy times we're going through right now, it feels like we're losing.
Yeah.
Blame yourself. What can you do to make this world better? What can you do to be a light in this dark world, you know? Because if we're all being a light, it's going to be a lot brighter than it is right now. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah.
I want to remind you, though, to also have compassion for yourself.
Yes, that is true.
Okay,
I'm so hard on myself.
Blame
dude.
yourself, sure, if that motivates you, but also have compassion and grace because you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Even if we feel like we're not, we're still. I guarantee every single human out there is doing the best they can with their current circumstances. No one sets out to like destroy their day.
Yeah.
But
At
we
least
get
they don't
into
think they do.
That's true. We get into these bad habits and patterns where we're just on a path that's not in our best self. But it's okay. Sometimes we have to go down that path. Like, have grace for that path, because sometimes you have to go down that path to see that you need to pull yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And also, like, not judging pulling yourself out of it isn't good. It's like all of it's okay. Accepting everything. Duality. Like, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not good. It just is. It's like, I feel like it's this, I'm still trying to understand this concept because we're very highly programmed. This is good. This is bad.
Yeah.
It just is. It's all of it. We are here to experience it all. And God gave us this gift of coming down here so that we could wake up and remember to choose him.
This is so good. I got another question I've been wanting to ask.
Let's go.
Did you have a moment whenever, like, I don't know, after you went through all the deepest parts of your life, did you have a moment where you, like, found peace and you felt like it's this moment that I'm overcoming? Like, because I had a moment I want to bring up too.
I want to hear yours. Mine is more just a series of moments.
Yeah.
Heather 3.0. I'm telling you, I feel her being birthed because I'm changing the way I see my world.
Yeah.
And it's a long time coming, but it's just this evolution of consciousness. It's an evolution of me seeing what I'm in and then learning that I get to choose.
Yeah.
And I slip back over and over and over into these bad habits and patterns where I'm blaming myself or others or whatever. It's just this acceptance practice. It's an awareness practice that I feel like it's a series of moments for me. But I want to hear about your one moment or
I
big
guess
moment.
I could say there was a series too, but like there was this one moment that happened. Like I told you, I student taught at this school called West Nottoway, tiny little school outside of Maryville. You might not even know where Maryville is. So
I do.
You know Maryville. You don't know Burlington Junction.
No.
There's no way. Yeah, 9 kids in the graduating class. Like it was tiny. Yeah. And it was cool, but it was culture shock for sure. I grew up here in Kansas City, Raymore, Lee Summit, Kansas City area. So it was culture shock a little bit, but like I felt like I made an impact. Didn't really know because I was so much different than everyone there. But it was my last day. Wasn't sad about it. I honestly was excited about it. I was like,
wait, it was your last day student teaching?
Last
there?
day student teaching. This was in April.
Okay.
Like April 21st, I think. My last day, I was excited about it because I was like, summertime, long summer, April till still right now we're still in the same summer.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was excited. And then like it became the end of the day. They gave me that thing one of my students painted.
Aw.
Yeah, it was so cool. And then there's a little note behind that too, that they wrote me and stuff. A lot of my students were giving me cool stuff, and I was like, oh. I was like, okay, actually, you really made an impact here. That's cool. but whatever. Like, I'm still excited.
Yeah.
So bell rings, walking out, and everyone's just kind of looking at me walk down the hall. They're like tears in their eyes. And I'm just like, even still, I'm like, hey, I'll see you guys again. It's all good. In my head, I'm still cool. Then this 4th grader ran up to me with tears in her eyes, gave me this note, and was like, bye, Coach Huggins, and gave me it. And I was like, hey, thanks. And before I could even say that, she took off because she didn't want me to see her cry. Yeah, and I was like, dang. I was like, okay, now I'm starting to feel it a little bit. And when I was walking out to the car, I opened the note, and I didn't even read anything besides, to the best PE teacher ever. And I just start bawling, like right there. I just started bawling because I was like, all the crap, all the depression I went through with Kyle, or even just the little things through college, you know, the stress of the class, whatever else happened, you know, all the BS I've ever been through is all worth it for this moment right here.
Yeah.
Because like it's made me who I am, and who I am made an impact on this student that showed it, and then all the other students that maybe didn't. I don't know. So I was just in that moment, it was just complete peace, and I was like, this is me. This is what I'm called to do. I felt God's presence, and
Yes.
I've not been the same. I don't know. I could ask Macy. I feel like it was that moment. I don't think I've been the same since, in like a weird, peaceful way.
I said to your mom, before I even met you, after I had heard your podcast, though, I said, Foster's a light worker. He's here to shine and to anchor light and to touch everybody around him. Like, you can't help it. That's why you're here. That's what I think. That's what I think.
I appreciate that.
Badass warrior of light. Your
Thank
dad
you.
likes it when I say that.
I like that too.
He said, he texted me, he said, badass warrior of light.
He had
Before
so many,
today?
He kept telling me, he was like, you need to ask her this. We're going to have to do another episode for sure. Because there's so many things that, honestly, I don't even think I've said one thing that he wanted me to say. Yeah, we've recorded an hour and a half.
He wanted me to say, nobody rides for free. So
Yes,
I said it.
you did say it.
I
You
did say it.
That was one of the things.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We're definitely doing another
Your
one.
parents are incredible. You know how lucky you are to be raised by them.
They're
Yeah.
the best.
And
the best.
they love each other so much.
Mhm.
What a gift.
Yes.
Yeah. And I am super grateful that you wanted to have me on, because this is so fun for me.
Well, you know, I've been knowing that I wanted to have you on for a long time, but I was like, this is going to be too good to do with the old setup. We have to wait for the new mics.
Had to wait for the new mics for me.
Yep. Oh, man. This has been so good, though.
Great.
But,
Well, thank you.
dude, do you want to keep this going? We're an hour and a half in. What time even is it? I got the Wiffle Ball World Series at 6.
Okay.
So, and that's 4 hours away.
Well, I mean, what else do you want to talk about?
You're here. You are here in this chair right now. Let's
I
wrote
wrote down
this.
some things. Let's see if there's anything I didn't say.
There's so much stuff I was thinking about in my head.
Dude, a lot of people are liking the last episode too.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of crazy feedback about the college.
You're recording right now. You turned it off, right?
No, we're still going.
Oh, okay.
It don't even matter. I edit out so much stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that camera died. It's fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I talk about? Yeah, I did. I think I don't know. I think we're good.
Think we're good?
Yeah.
You think we're good? I think we're good.
Yeah, but we should talk again if you like talking. I love talking.
Dude, let's set something up like this. You know what this is?
What?
That was our live show we did.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You know, I was actually gonna ask you, but I was like, I don't know her yet,
Yeah.
so I don't know if she'd be down.
Where
That
was
dude
this
killed
at?
it though.
This was at
El Dorado in Raymore.
Yeah.
Yep, it was so cool. That was a great night. Wasn't even planned out. It was like 5 days of planning, and we're like we put the post out 5 days before it happened, and still like 40 people came.
That's cool.
It was cool, but yeah, we're definitely doing another one. This was amazing.
Good.
Oh man, I didn't even want to end it, but I guess we might as well.
We might as well end it.
Might as well
End
save
on a
some
good
more.
note.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. All right. Well, thank you
Okay.
for coming on today. That
Thank
was
you.
incredible, dude. Oh my gosh, that was probably the least I've ever talked in the episode
Because I stole the microphone.
She did. I was sitting back. I'm like, I'm not even about to say a word because she's rolling right now.
That's so funny.
That was amazing.
Well, thank you for having
Dude,
me.
thank
and,
you.
I love talking to you. So
Yes, I love talking to you too.
All right.
Hey, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, buy the merch. We're almost sold out again. So love you guys. Catch you later.